Good morning. I'm Nico Dahan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. And I'm Ellen Dahan.
And it's a beautiful day in Durango, Colorado. It's like 72 degrees, going down to 46 tonight.
Yeah.
It's a chilly night last night, actually.
It feels like autumn.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, you can see different clothes on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to remind people of our Primal Edge here. You can still order this from the tfnn.com website. It's $89 a month if you subscribe, and it's a good way to stay healthy and start your day.
Yeah, and get everything you need in
Yeah.
one shot wonder.
That's right. And of course, we've been off the air since May, I think the end of May, just before our move to Durango. And we wanted to kind of go over, and before we really start the show back to, living the primal lifestyle and looking at articles and news about our health and kind of deconstructing those things, which we normally do, we really wanted to talk about the changes that we made, why we made some of those changes and how it's coming along and why we're here in Durango.
Yeah, really just to build on that, we've been doing our show from Florida.
Yep.
And our last show that we did at the end of May was talking about the move.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so on. And yes, our intention is to get back on the air with our normal conversations about health, diet, and fitness.
Yeah.
And
the reason we're not on TFNN was really their schedule is so booked with people, and it's financial. And we were at 7 o'clock in the morning, and now in Durango it'd be 5 o'clock. And yeah, we could do a show now and then, I think, at 5 o'clock, but to do it on a regular basis was really a little too much for me, at least.
Oh, I didn't have to get up quite early. It's a 2-hour time difference.
Right.
And, well, we thought we'd try this and see how it goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people actually doing podcasts. So we were listening to a couple of mainstream people the other day just doing podcasts, switching from the networks to doing a podcast. So this is I think the wave of the future, where you're probably going to find the best news and deconstruction of things on things like YouTube. So you can talk a little bit more freely, although people do get thrown off there too. So you never know what happens. But we wanted to
our conversations are intended to be, they're not provocative. They're just thought-provoking.
Perhaps.
And we look at articles and we refer people to other resources and references, and they can do their own research.
Yeah, well, basically the whole premise of the show was to, as we're growing older, we wanted to stay healthy and be able to do the things we've always done. Mm-hmm. And we do that through food and through a lifestyle, and that's the primal lifestyle we were talking about.
Yeah.
But today we wanted to talk about the move from Florida to Colorado. And really the last time we talked, we were just about in the midst of getting the movers. And
yeah, it was a Tuesday and we moved on Thursday.
Yeah,
so we really
right,
were. Yeah. And it got me thinking a lot about change and all the things that are concomitant to that conversation. And I was planning to do an article anyway. And so I made a bunch of notes. And
yeah, I made a few myself. The first note I have here is 2 weeks on the road. Because when we got here, we bought the house, and the people were here for two more weeks. So we got to see the house the way they had it, and we kind of envisioned the house that we wanted. And we fell in love with this piece of property just west of Durango. And it's just, we've really enjoyed it here. I'll tell you that. It's just been really great.
Well, here's the thing, the first thing that happened was we packed up the house, we got it onto the truck. The movers, 8 movers, got it onto the truck. And then we suddenly were homeless, in a sense.
Yeah, well,
we knew we were going to close on our house on the 1st of June.
Right.
But we also knew we weren't going to get into the house until around the 13th or so.
Yeah.
And that meant we were in our car, first driving across country, and then touring around Colorado, visiting friends and family. And but it was an extremely strange kind of odyssey, and it was very, very different than our normal lives, and so that
different than any vacation we've had too.
Right.
It's similar in that we saw the friends we wanted to, and we were in Colorado where we really wanted to be. But it was kind of strange because we didn't have a home to go to, and when we got to the home, there was nothing here.
Right.
So,
Yes, that was it. Then came the next round of challenge. So the first change was we weren't living in our car in the sense that we stayed at hotels and along the way, but we were basically everything we had was in the car, and that was quite different. And then when we got here, the moving van did not.
That's right. They told us it was going to. It was when we got here. I think it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something. And then they said, well, we're leaving on Thursday.
Well, we moved into the house. We camped in the house
we did.
On the 13th, which was a Sunday.
Yeah, we had a couple of mattresses.
We were expecting the moving van on the 15th. This was the 13th.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. And it was that. So the adventure continued.
Yeah, so we were basically camping. We bought a couple of air mattresses.
Yeah, camping in the house.
Yeah, camping in the house. So,
we bought like four knives, forks, and spoons, and a couple of towels, and we were in, and then we were able to stock the refrigerator and have our things. We had to buy, as I recall, a French press because we didn't have our coffee machine.
That's right,
and that was different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was different, So that's really part of what we were thinking about with change. Use the word change, but and change is inevitable.
Yeah,
I mean, change can be as simple as you had your favorite restaurant and then suddenly it closes.
Yeah, those things happen too, for sure. Moving day, that was instead of 8 guys, we had 2 guys.
Those poor guys.
So that was a big difference. I helped a lot too. So I was, from sun up to sundown.
It was 12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours. I was helping them move, and which was really good for me because we'd been sitting in the car, and
it was good exercise.
Yeah, it was good exercise. So
we were unpacking boxes and of course, lots of people say, "Well, take your time, unpack at your leisure," and then they go right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there was no way we were going to sit in a house full of boxes.
And even though some of the boxes were marked, you don't know what's in them and where things were. And we still have some things that were missing.
The only thing we're missing is the silverware.
The silverware.
It is
so we got new silverware.
We got new silverware.
I will probably find it sometime.
Yeah, well, we're going to look again. We figured enough looking and enough.
Well, the bad thing that happened during the move was one container wardrobe box, which was mine. All my suits and my tux and everything, that was all demolished because there was a leak in the in the van, which got into that box.
Literally, there was a couple of inches of water running into that wardrobe box. It was very weird.
The other thing that happened was meeting new neighbors. We had some neighbors come by, which was really nice.
What a difference!
Yeah,
It felt like you were welcome into the neighborhood. We lived in our other house for 25 years. We knew the people on the people on the left. Pretty much.
Yeah. And here we already know the neighbors across the street.
Next to them, and on the other side, because we're on a corner lot, and then two doors down from everybody stopped. Lots of people. We even had the son-in-law across the street. But it's fun. Now.
It's a great house. It's a great house. It's interesting. We had the fireplace on the first time. We first sold in this house. We were sleeping with the doors open. And that's really nice. It brings me back to Canada because my parents always open the windows or winter or anything like that. They always have the windows in the bedrooms just because they thought it was healthy. Like human probably is.
Well, what's interesting is that I think about we've kind of gone around in a circle in our lives. We started out with no air conditioning, and now we have no air conditioning.
That's right.
And that's okay because we don't need it, as it turns out. But we also there are things that are going on that we're doing, like leaving the door open at night or what, the window open at night to get the fresh air that remind you of what it was like when you were a child.
Right.
And we're kind of gone around living in a neighborhood where you know the neighbors and...
yeah, it's nice and quiet. It's maybe... I don't know, 150 to 300 homes, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. A lot of green space in this area.
Hiking trails.
Up and down the mountain, that type of thing. Some things haven't changed. Ellen is still working from home, and you have been working from home.
I've been remotely.
For a couple of years now, almost 2
February of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, February of 2019. So we're coming up on.
My job, of course, with performance training, I closed that business, and I was lucky enough to meet guys from Durango, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Jonathan and Amy Greco. And they were really nice and invited me to do teaching, and they opened some classes for me. So now I'm teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Durango Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And boy, that's really fulfilling, and it really helps my jiu-jitsu game, keeps everything fresh, keeps me active, keeps me in a sport that I love and a lifestyle that I really enjoy. And
but it also gives you a chance to meet people.
Well, that too, yeah. The guys have been great.
And to make a difference.
Yeah, and teaching really, I think, sets it home to you. You know, it really becomes part of you, what you're teaching, and you remember
much
things.
Easier to remember.
Yeah, it's much easier to remember. And we're getting to know Durango. We've spent a couple of summers here, just briefly, but we love the small town feel of the whole thing. I think maybe 2,500 residents in Durango, so it's not a big city. Well, there's a lot of tourists that come in.
Yeah, a lot of tourists, and there's also environs. So they say there's about a total of about 54,000 people in the environs.
Yeah,
so we got the mountain roads,
metropolitan area, so to speak. In a sense.
Yeah. There's a couple of small subdivisions.
And we've gotten into little routines where we go places like on Saturday, we go downtown, walk around the lot. We have our favorite little place that we eat at.
Because Colorado has more microbrewers than they do people.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
That's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
And we've discovered the food here is a lot different. You know, Florida has good food, but it's warm weather food. It's not like the animals that here go through their winter. So they're much hardier, which I believe really makes them healthier food.
And the restaurants use the grass-fed, grass-finished, free-range
and one of the places
animals
that we go to is called James Ranch. And James Ranch really feeds the whole area.
Yeah,
all the restaurants use them. So we're all eating from the same area. And these are...
It's local.
It's local. It's the farm there. They get all the stuff from the farm. And that's pretty nice.
Yeah, we've been enjoying that.
I
think one of the biggest issues for us was kind of getting back into some kind of a routine.
Yeah.
And that was our way of becoming more comfortable with the change.
Yeah, because we used to go in the middle of the week to a certain restaurant. We knew all the people there. And so we found a couple of restaurants we tried, and then we finally found one that we go to on Wednesday night, which was actually tonight. Today is the 22nd?
22nd.
Wednesday, the 22nd. I'm hoping to post this up tomorrow on the 23rd. And then maybe next week we'll do a podcast, but then we're going to go away for 2 weeks. So we won't be doing it on the road. But when we get back, we're going to get back to our regular schedule once a week and talking about living a primal lifestyle and how, things are going for us. And, there's a lot of things to talk about. We're still in this COVID thing, and there's lots of different things happening socially with our government, with the medications and the shots and everything like that. And we're going to talk about all those things because I think it's important. If you want to be healthy, you really have to know what you want to do.
How can you maximize your health and build your immune system and create a lifestyle that keeps you safe as well as enabling you to have a full life. Yeah. Let's get back a little bit more to just change as a topic.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about TFNN because Tom and Tommy have been so good to us. They feel like my brothers in a sense, and they really have supported us. And Tommy had said to me, why don't you explore the YouTube if you feel like you can't get up that early? And he says, I don't blame you. And we kind of went back and forth. And I said, let's try this YouTube thing. And of course, I have to know the software now and trying to figure the whole thing out. And so it's going to be a little bit different. But, maybe they'll put this up on their site too. I don't know. But we're going to be talking to them when we get back because our trip is going to be to Florida because you have a function there.
I have a law conference, yeah.
So we're going to go back and we're going to be driving. We don't want to go in the transportation business.
Well, we're going to drive because that gives us the freedom to go and do what we want
and visit some people along the way.
And we're going to do that.
And we're going to take
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to a trip. To me, when you go on the road with your truck it's the ultimate freedom. It's the old man and his horse, that kind of thing. And, it's an adventure always.
Thank goodness it's not a horse.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah. It'd be a longer trip for sure.
Yeah.
So what did you want to talk about?
Well, I actually I wanted to talk about the concept of change in general. Both of us came from a background where we moved a lot.
That's true.
I mean, in your case, you actually emigrated from a foreign country to Canada, from the Netherlands to Canada.
Yeah.
And then when you were 18, you moved to the States.
Right.
And I didn't move out from country to country, but we moved every few years. And I lived in a lot of places and went to school in a lot of different schools. And ultimately, as an adult, moved a few times as well,
Yeah.
And
I think we moved like 15 or 16 times by the time I finished high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
so that was
how many schools? I went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 schools, but so I was thinking about change from the perspective of a child.
Mm.
And, you have no choice. Your parents say, okay, we're moving, we didn't even pack because it was like an elementary school and then suddenly I'm in a new state,
Yeah.
And
then you have to meet new friends, of course.
Yeah,
you get used to doing that.
Yeah, and you do get used to doing that, and you don't think about it too much. And when you see on Facebook that you've got my best friend since the second grade, or whatever. Well, you don't have that.
Yeah, I managed to keep some friends for quite a few years after the move, and just about every time there was 1 or 2 people that I kept connecting with. And in Canada, I hitchhiked a lot. So I'd go back to the town. I'd hitchhike for 3 or 4 hours, and my parents. And those days was, it was
safe.
It was safe.
And there was no email, and there was no,
right.
And you didn't call them because that was a long distance call.
Yeah, so you just kind of showed up and you go, oh, yeah, and it picked up where you left off in a sense. And that kind of taught me the whole peace of mind of that. Maybe you don't see this person for a long time, but when you get there, it's like the day you left almost.
Yeah.
Except that you may have
I didn't have that. I just had, I kept, and sometimes you keep in touch with pen pals, for a little while, and then you both lose interest.
Yeah.
It was just too difficult to share. We didn't have social media. We didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
well, letters for me was always just to a girl. I never wrote my buddy guys,
Right.
But,
that would have been weird.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Just because that's how it was then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
was thinking about, okay, so on the one hand, looking back on it, sometimes you feel like, oh gosh, I wish I had a lifelong friend. But on the other hand, my life is not impacted in any negative way by not having one.
Yeah.
And I know that it made me more resilient and and developed the skill in me to be more easily adaptable and to deal with change.
Yeah.
And to know that I could.
Right, because you've done it before.
Yeah, so there was that confidence about that. But, and you build new relationships, so you develop skills around how to create new relationships. Well, it made us
the people we are.
Oh, and absolutely. And, no matter what else you think about, everything that happens to you as a child and in your life in general leads you to who you are today.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it was interesting. But then I'm wondering, does it also create insecurities in children, or a feeling of they don't have any control over their lives? That suddenly they're being ripped out of their comfort zone and stuck in a car and taken away, and you have to go someplace new. And
yeah, you don't think about it at the time. It's a reflection back. You wonder about those things, but you are who you are, and you are because of the changes that took place. So, it really helped me.
Sometimes, for me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but for me, I know that there were, as an adult, my way of coping was pretty much risk averse. Mm-hmm. I was okay with new situations, but no, I wasn't going to go off half-cocked or do something wild and crazy and quote unquote wild and crazy.
Yeah, I can't say the same. But,
I mean, as a hippie, I went to the hairdresser, and it just was. It was a hybrid kind of life that I had, but I think that for me, there were so many other things going on in my relationships with the family, the dynamics of the family, that a part of it was the constant change without having that feeling of stability and feeling like, well, gee, is it going to change again?
Yeah.
How much should I invest in this life?
Yeah. Well, when my dad came over first from Holland to Canada, we had a lot of people follow us, our whole family, my mother's sisters, my father's brother, and all the extended cousins and everything like that moved to Canada too. So when we made the move, we were really never far from the extended family, because either they had been there, we were going there, or they moved with us, or shortly after they came into those places. So the extended family helped a lot, because there's nothing like hanging around with your cousins.
Yeah, and in my situation, we were only within immediate distance of family for a year and a half of my entire childhood.
And you had a lot of cousins.
But we did go to see the family at least once or twice a year.
Yeah, we did.
So, and I knew my cousins and my immediate cousins, and since that time, the extended family has reached out to each other, and I have second and third and fourth cousins with whom I'm very friendly.
And the other thing that happened in my family, because my dad was a dance instructor for the old folk dances from Holland and from Germany and stuff.
The old folk dances, not the old folk.
That's right, the old folk dances. Yeah.
The old folk dances.
And so we would connect with people from Holland and from Germany and even from Poland and other countries, because there was always a community center of some kind that would have the dances and have the get-togethers and things like that.
Yes, and I didn't have any of that either. It was I didn't take dance lessons. I didn't. These days, kids do all kinds of things and have their tribes from each different discipline, but we didn't have that. For one thing, it wasn't as readily available like it is now. And number two, you had to have a certain level of income in order to be able to afford it.
No doubt about that.
And in those days, mom wasn't working, just dad. And that was, so we had what we had. We had clothes and food and a roof over our heads. And we went to a school, and, that it was just the life. When you're a kid, you don't think about it. I don't remember ever being cold when I was a kid. Just whatever it was, and you put a coat on or you didn't, that's just the way it was.
Well, I think the part of the outgoing thing from moving and meeting new people, when I started working after college, and I was in sales a lot, and that really helped me in sales because I knew how to talk to people, how to introduce myself. I wasn't shy about doing those things, even though I'm not really completely outgoing. Yeah, I would say if we're at a party, you're a lot more outgoing than I am. I kind of stay in the background.
But all the years that we've been together, I know I can take you to an event where you won't know a lot of people, but you'll be perfectly comfortable and you will find a common ground to talk to people about.
I was always interested, kind of in my own skin. I was very comfortable. So I could be alone, I could be with other people, and whatever they're talking about, if it was interesting to me, I'd engage. If it wasn't interesting to me, I'd find something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating to me just talking about meeting people. We go to our lunch at our microbrewery, and we like to sit at the bar. Just that's your thing, and so
it's just get better service. You get to know somebody instead of having a different waiter all the time,
right?
And
that's part of our comfort.
Yeah,
and we feel welcomed.
Yeah,
so this past Saturday we sat down and we ended up chatting with a young man who's been in Durango about a year and a half. Well, it turns out that not only did we find one thing in common, but we found a bunch of things in common. Like, number one, he's into music.
Yep.
And he plays instruments and writes music, and so do we.
Yep.
And so we talked about that for a while, and then we found out that he's interested in off-roading. and we got the history of that. His father was into it, and and we also spend time off-roading and enjoy that very much, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to live here. So we found ourselves with someone with whom we had quite a bit in common, and we, so let's exchange phone numbers and let's get together and pursue a relationship.
Yeah, and he's a completely different age. I mean, he's in his young. 30s, I think, and we're in our 70s, so it's a whole different bag. But we feel like we're in our 30s a lot of the time, I think.
Well, age is only a number.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And it turns out, in my experience, and one of the things I talk about in my teaching is you have something in common with absolutely every person you meet.
Sure.
You just have to figure out what it is. And if you're willing to chat about things, you discover what it is. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. And then I was thinking, sorry.
Well, the other change I was going to say is the weather. The weather is completely different. It's instead of being humid, it's a lot drier, usually 20% or less most of the time.
Yeah, this morning's weather report had a dry skin warning, which you would never get in Florida.
That's right. So, and it does get warm during the day a lot of times, in the 80s up to 90 if you go downtown.
Well, no, that was a month or two ago.
Yeah,
the summertime. Yeah.
But
it's much drier.
Yeah, and we're up in the mountains, so we're west of Durango, about 1,000 feet higher than Durango. I think Durango's at
6512.
Yeah, and we're at 674 or something like that. Yeah. So it's always cooler up here, and the nights have been fabulous. And now it's starting to get cold because it was in the 30s last night. And it's not going to get quite as cold tonight, but
and that's really just at the very beginning of daylight. It gets that cold,
right? Yeah, which is different. In Florida, it gets cooler like around 4 o'clock in the morning. Here, it gets the coldest like about 6 o'clock. So it's a little different.
And and cool in Florida is a relative term.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Well, we're going to find out. We'll be back there in a couple of weeks. So. Yeah. So the difference in the weather has been really a positive thing for us. It's, your hair is better, everything, your skin is better. Oh, my hair is doing a happy dance. No doubt about it. And you wake up and it's cool out, and we go for walks in these trails that are surrounding our area. And it's just a lot of fun.
And we walk in town. That's the other thing that's fun. And, going into town, and it's like we're up on the mountain and we go down into town. It's about 6 miles, and we you'll park and walk, and there's a lot of steep climbs and so on. So it's really good walking. And
we walked last Saturday for about 3.5 hours.
Oh, there was an art show. Yeah.
So that was nice. And they have these little shows that come in and out too. They had the motorcycles a couple of weeks ago coming in.
Yeah, the rally.
The rally, yeah. They had a bicycle rally about a month ago. Purgatory. And so the things the town seems to be bustling all the time. We haven't seen it in winter yet. That's going to be a whole different experience.
And apparently they do have tourism in winter as well.
Sure, because we have the skiing.
Because there's skiing.
We've got Wolf Creek here. We have up the hill here. We have another place.
Purgatory has a big resort.
That place too, yeah. So we'll discover those too.
Yeah. Yeah, and all right. So just getting back for a minute to kind of my random thoughts on change. I was thinking that, change is not a neutral term. I mean, it should be, because it's neither good nor bad. It's just different. But a lot comes with it. It's not just a simple word, and it comes with apprehension. And is this the right thing I should do? And am I going to be? Is this going to maximize my success, or is this going to enable me to thrive?
We lived in Florida for a long time, almost 50 years combined, with the East Coast and the West Coast. So we didn't know how, I had the experience in Canada as a kid.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, So it's different now, and you've aged a little bit, and, you wonder how you're going to get along with all these hills. It took us maybe a couple of weeks to acclimate.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, some days you feel fine, and other days you think, this is not as easy to go up this hill as it was last week, but it's still better.
For me, the real difference was on the mat with
the jiu-jitsu.
That first week
Elevation.
I was there, Oh, it was just like I ran out of breath in like 3 or 4 minutes, where before I was fighting 5 and 10 minutes.
Right.
And so that's a whole different bag. But I seem to have gotten my wind back where I was, and it's probably healthier. I have to extract more oxygen out of what's here. I have to fix that. The screen keeps going blank. But so that was a big change, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. Although I'd come up here and climbed a lot and done a lot of hikes with Mark Cabell from the Colorado Bigfoot.
Coming up for a week is one thing.
Yeah.
And you had also trained for that. You were using your mask for breathing and so on. And you tried to get, and this way we were just simply moving.
Yeah, so it was a different bag.
So it is an acclimatization process, and it does take more than just a week or two.
But there's a lot of bonuses to being out here too. And
without a doubt.
Some of the things like car insurance is much less expensive.
All insurance.
Yeah. The house insurance,
car insurance, and health insurance are all
even
less
Medicare
expensive.
is cheaper here.
Yes, health insurance is cheaper.
So
and property taxes are lower.
Yeah.
And we don't have to pay for landscaping grass cutting services.
Yeah, we have no grass. We have some grass on that side of the house, which is about this long.
Well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Those are the weeds. But, it's just
but we get
xeriscaping. Yeah. And it's very
pretty. So that's
pretty.
Nice. I don't have to go out and cut the lawn, no matter
what.
But I will have to shovel some snow. So there's
only a driveway. It's not.
Yeah, and it's facing south. So the neighbors have told us that we have a godsend here because the snow melts pretty fast off our driveway. And we don't.
And apparently they don't. I mean, occasionally you'll get some heavy snow, but mostly it doesn't accumulate or it melts. And we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be reporting back on that for sure. But we have acclimated for sure. We're very happy here, and there's a lot of positives to being up here for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you keep talking about the specifics of our move, and I keep trying to talk about the generic principles of change.
Yeah, well, keep going. We'll sort it out.
So, looking at, is this the right decision? When we said to people we're moving to Colorado, we got a lot of pushback. A lot of people it's like, but they're old. Why are they moving? People move to Florida, not away. And it didn't occur to us to even think about that. I mean, for us, change is a part of our lives. First of all, it's inevitable. Nothing stays the same.
We had done it many times in our youth.
Yeah, and we had, as an adult, I mean, we had been 25 years in our last location, but the fact was that we're not afraid of change, and we're not afraid to try something new. We're not concerned about going someplace where we don't know anybody, because we meet people, and we will meet the people we need to meet in order to have our fulfilled life.
Yeah. And our old friends, I hope we're going to see them when we go back naturally. And hopefully some of them will come out here and spend some time with us.
Yeah, I have a feeling, we lived in Florida for 25 years. We had guests like twice, it was, people just didn't come. And
well, they came now and then with the kids every few years and that type of thing.
But a lot of people never came. Many years has been since anybody, and here.
Well, they have their own lives too.
Well, of course. Yeah. And so, but we're thinking perhaps, because of where we are now, we may get more frequent visits from people, or more people coming to visit. A lot of people have said, "Well, I've never been to Colorado. That would be great. I'd love to
some
come
of our
back."
kids enjoy the same things we do.
Yeah,
as
the
far as
off-roading,
and things like that. So we're definitely going to have them here.
Yeah, but I mean, it all comes down to what can I expect, and we don't know what to expect when you make a change.
Yeah,
and you have to find out, and you have to be brave enough to be willing to say, okay, whatever it is going to be fine, and it'll be good. It might be different, but it's going to be fine, and go on from there. There are stresses that come with it. It's a financial commitment to move.
It costs a lot of money to move here.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody taking all your belongings cross country is expensive. And the other option, we were lucky, we got to sell your car immediately because
we sold it before we got here.
Yeah.
And before we left.
And then we picked up a car for you here.
Yeah.
And my car we're keeping just about forever, probably. But the change for me was a very positive one. and even though we didn't know.
I think, without a doubt, this was a great move for us.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I'm thinking,
health-wise, I think it's better.
On every level.
Yeah.
This felt like coming home.
In a sense, it did, yeah.
This house is our home. And it's,
boy, when we saw this house, I mean, it was on the very last day we were here. Actually, the second last day. We had planned on leaving on Friday, and I think that Thursday we got a call from our realtor and says, "Oh, we got one more to look at."
It was Friday.
Was it Friday? Well, whatever it was, we had already put a bid on another house that we really didn't like.
We weren't sure.
We had to get something.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, "Well, this is a little different. It's on the west side of town instead of on the east side. I think you should look at this." And boy, as soon as we
stood on the front porch and said, "This is our house."
Before we
weren't even inside yet.
Yeah, so that's how sure we were.
Yeah.
And there was not a lot. And all the furniture that we had in Florida actually fit perfectly in the house and looked like it belongs here.
Oh, it's amazing.
And we only had to do a few things. We got new window coverings.
Mm-hmm.
We ordered a new roof because the roof is about 18 years old. And I think the roof probably here lasts maybe 25.
Well, we wanted a metal roof.
We wanted a metal roof. Mm-hmm. We wanted solar panels on it. So
that's in the works.
What that allows us to do is get a big discount on the roof and the solar panels together.
A tax break.
Yeah, tax break, which is 26%, which is quite a bit. So we are making that investment. We ordered a generator. None of the stuff has come.
Whole house generator.
Yeah, the supply and demand is really out of skew.
Right now with everything going on.
Yeah, everything's slow, but
that's all right. Everything's ordered. Everything's on its way. Well, we got the plantation shutters for the windows, and so we're good. And the rest of it will come.
Yep.
And
the nice thing in Colorado, which is different than Florida, is here they pretty much make sure you got new appliances. Everything has to be in primo condition.
The house, and they have to deep clean the house before you move in, which we didn't have to do.
Now, we did a good cleaning there because of showing the house.
Right.
So that was the bonus that they got. But a lot of our appliances were a little bit older than the ones that were here. We got new appliances, I think, except for the refrigerator, which is, I think, a little bit older. But everything works here. Just some minor things that we have to do. So we're very, very happy with everything. The garage is a big 2.5
oversized 2-car garage. Yeah.
So
you can open the door of your car when my car is in the garage.
Yeah, which we couldn't do in Florida. It was a little smaller. And the house is larger too. We had about 1750 in Florida, and we have about 2350 here, which is quite a bit more space.
Mm-hmm. Lots of closets. Imagine opening a kitchen cabinet and it having an empty shelf in it.
We still have some empty shelves.
I'm just not used to that. But things like, here's the biggest challenge that we had: finding someone to cut our hair.
That's true.
We
were lucky that way too.
For me, when I moved over to our last location in Florida, it took me 4 weeks to find somebody who could manage my hair. And those 4 weeks, I looked a little like Shaka Khan, I think, at some point. It was crazy and I finally did find somebody. This time, first salon.
Well, the first one we went into, you couldn't get an appointment.
No, I couldn't get an appointment. We're very busy. We can't. We can give you an appointment in 2 weeks. I said, no, thank you very much. Goodbye. Walked into the second one.
Yeah, that was a great place. In fact, it was very close to my barber.
It turned out your barber's literally quarter of a block away.
Yeah.
Where you ended up going. And both of us got fabulous haircuts the first time out.
Yeah.
Which is just unheard of for us. We were.
It was amazing.
And people, and a lot of people have said, you just moved here. Did you find some place to get your hair done? That is a concern. It's certainly for women and I'm sure for men as well these days. And
in fact, my hair barbershop is a barbershop book store with a speakeasy in the back.
Behind the bookshelf.
So if you get the code from your bartender or from your hair...
your hair hairdresser or a haircut, whatever.
Your
the guy
barber.
That cuts your barber. Yeah,
your barber. You can get a code to go in. I haven't done that.
It's a full bar.
Yeah.
Back there.
He says it's really nice. You go in here and lounge around
and have a drink and whatever. And but it's just fun. There's
so
just
someday
fun
we'll
stuff.
do that.
Yeah, it's just fun stuff that we're finding and feeling good about, and and you have to find a doctor, or you have to find a what else do we need? A dentist.
Yeah.
But we have some leads on that.
I found a place for my truck, which was really good.
Oh, yes.
My FJ Cruiser was in Florida. I had these guys that were like a block away from me.
Yeah, not even.
And they could fabricate stuff. They could do just about anything. So, that was kind of anxiety to find a place. But one of the guys from Jiu-Jitsu, Jeff, gave me a referral. He says, go here. My girlfriend goes there, and she lives across the street from this guy. And the guy is just spectacular and can do most things. There's a couple of things he can't do. He's not into fabricating and stuff like that. But at this point, I don't really need that.
No.
But all the stuff that he did, and I had some major couple of things like wheel bearings and things to do. I've got 160-some thousand miles on it now. It's a 2007. And I want to keep it for a long time, and it just runs so good. And so I had a couple of things done there, and that worked out really well. And so those things are important. Car insurance, that was another thing.
We said it was much cheaper than Florida.
Much cheaper.
Yeah, all the way around. The cost of living here is somewhat lower than what we were experiencing.
Yeah, the food might be a little more expensive, but the quality here is really, really good. So what we were buying in Florida is pretty much comparable, because we were always after the best meats and things that we could get. And that was a little harder to find in Florida, but here at the James Ranch and other places, they have their own cows and sheep and goats and everything, and they have pigs. And,
bacon.
The bacon here is wonderful. The food is really, really good, and so we're very happy. That's for sure.
Yeah, little by little, we're finding our way, and thinking about it. This is already the middle of September. We've both had birthdays in our new house in our new town, and it's already been. We've been in Colorado since
June.
May 31st, but we've been in the house since the 13th. So that's 3 months already.
Yeah. But everything pretty much feels like home now. That's for sure. My exercise room is all put together.
Yeah.
Your office is all put together, which is the guest room.
And boy, I tell you what, my cell service is a heck of a lot more reliable and fast than it was.
That is for sure. We were kind of concerned about that, but we have a couple of different companies here, and we use the same company we were using in Florida. Just transferred everything over, and everything is faster here. There's no doubt about it.
And more reliable. I don't get kicked off the system like I used to.
Yeah, you used to get kicked off at least once or twice a day.
Oh, yeah.
And here you don't get kicked off at all. So it's much more steady. And we're lucky because in the neighborhood we do have sewers. We have internet service. We have electricity. Natural gas. All the amenities that we wanted are here, and they're not really expensive.
No.
Natural gas here is a third of what it was in Florida.
And propane.
And the electricity is going to be very inexpensive, like it was in Florida, because of the solar panels.
Yeah, we'll get those solar panels.
And the other thing with solar here, where you have an overage in the month in Florida, you get like 15 or 16 cents on the dollar to return it back to the company. Here, they give you 100%. So that's a huge thing. So any overage that we get here, we can sell back to the company at 100%, and they'll take that off the bill if we are over. So it's, and they may even pay us back. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a different way of life for us, and I have never lived in a situation where it was a little bit more rural. This is a subdivision, but it is 6 miles out of town, and on a main road, and the mail is at the front of the subdivision in a kiosk. And so that's different. And we've developed the routine of how we get our mail and when we get our mail.
And these days you get notifications what's coming anyway. So,
yeah, it's interesting. There's a whole program that you have on your phone that says, this is what's in the mailbox.
Yeah.
So, and you got a package. So that's fun. Oh, and that was the other thing. When we were looking for a house, we had to make sure that Amazon could come to the house.
Yeah, we do get a lot of things from Amazon. It's so easy.
And UPS.
It's kind of a curse and a blessing at the same time because it's
FedEx.
one big, large company. And I'm never really comfortable with that as much. But with
it
Amazon,
doesn't. But you know what? We still order from it.
We'll do it.
And
Yeah,
we'll deal
no
with
doubt
it.
about it. It's much easier than scrounging around.
Well, and that's important because we don't have the big stores here. I mean, I was thrilled and delighted to find a Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
And
there is a Home Depot.
There's a Home Depot, but there's no Lowe's.
Lowe's, yeah.
There's a Walmart, but no Target,
No
but not that
Publix.
and the grocery stores we did find a wonderful natural food store.
Yeah, Natural Oasis.
Nature's Oasis.
Nature's Oasis.
Yeah.
Don't remember the name, but I know where it is.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's a great store. And the other place, which is all way on the other side of town, which is a drive we do every 2 weeks, is James Ranch, where we get most of our meat, not all of it.
Yeah.
But
and,
the quality.
And fresh eggs. And
the eggs are so orangey. And we just love the food here. So that's the real blessing. So when we return from our trip, we're going to have another episode. Maybe we'll do one next week if we have the time. But we wanted to let everybody know that we're back. We're going to have the continuation of Living a Primal Lifestyle in the format that we used before. It's just not going to be on TFNN unless they decide to post it from our YouTube channel. They were very, very enthusiastic and encouraged us. And as of right now, the Primal Edge is going to be sold there. It's the only product we have. We use it extensively. We feel this is really keeping us healthy and keeping us, it's the probiotics that are in there and all the vitamins and minerals that you need. And it's really important.
Certainly the D3.
And we wanted to keep it going. And to do it ourselves was kind of a daunting thing.
Change.
Yeah, it's change. Maybe we make a little bit more money that way. But the other thing is setting up with the taxes. There's a lot of tax burdens here in Colorado for retail sales.
State tax.
They have state taxes and things like that.
Well, all in all, we're not in it for the money.
No.
We don't get paid to do the show.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what we're trying to do is just reach as many people as we can with as much information as we can offer, and giving them the connections to go and do the research themselves.
Right.
And it's we will continue to do that and get the word out. Yeah. And we have a lot of fun, obviously, when we do our show.
We do enjoy it, and we really missed it these 3 months that we haven't been doing it. So we're glad to be back. We want to let you know we were back. We're not going anywhere. So either next week or in 3 weeks, we'll be back with another show.
And then we'll be doing our
we'll be doing it on YouTube. We're not going to monetize it. So any commercials that you see is YouTube itself. And that's the way we're going to keep it, I think.
For a while.
Yeah, at least unless we run into money problems, then maybe we will. But right now, we're really happy with what we're doing. And we'll see you next time. Take care, folks.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.